Oh, that sounds interesting though. How I've used training, skill development tracking. So with the service user that I had, mild learning disabilities, he used to tweet me, he used to tweet me his dinners that he'd prepared, which I think is really good. It was such a good motivator. So we would do a skill development program, say on the Monday, learning how to make pizza. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he would then tweet me pictures of different things that he had made that week. And then we would talk about it in the next session about things that he had made. Arranging appointments. I used to arrange occupational therapy appointments using Twitter. Not on the main Twitter bit where everyone can read, but through private conversations that you can have on Twitter. So you can set up a little private message and then tweet through. Yeah, I think it's really helped me to build therapeutic relationships with some of my service users that tweet, because you get to know them as an occupational being, but equally they also get to know you as an occupational being, and together you can sort of go on this wonderful journey, which is really great. For me, that's really great, and I think I'm very privileged to work in learning disabilities where service users will remain on my caseload for not a considerable time anymore, but for a longer period of time perhaps than if you're working in an acute service or a mental health service as well. Obviously live conference tweeting, I don't know if any of you have done that before, but you can't beat Bill Wong. Does anyone know Bill Wong? Yeah. Well, you can't beat Bill Wong, he's amazing. He's got like 5 different computers set up so he can do this like mass tweeting as he's live conferencing. But if you can't attend a conference, you can still be part of that conference. I mean, how incredible is that really? You can see people's slides because people have taken photos of them and tweeted them. You can get people's opinions and views, people's quotes. You can feel, and you can then even tweet in and then be part of like the Twitter feed, and you're not even there, but you are there virtually and you're still actively involved. You're still learning, you're still growing, you're still developing as an occupational therapist. You don't necessarily have to be there. Yeah, connecting with the local community for occupational issues. And linking with services. So this is more of what's out there for people with learning disabilities. I set up a politics group and we use the big hashtag for that. I inspires people to start tweeting about politics and learning disabilities, which led to me then going on the radio for BBC 3 Counties. So it can really open up opportunities. And also, I don't tend to have a CPD folder anymore. I still keep my certificates in a certain place. But my CPD folder is my Twitter account. Because every reflection that I do, every conference that I attend, it's on my Twitter and it will never go away. And I can scroll back through all my tweets and notice my journey and my development of the things that I've learned, the things that I've read, the conferences I've been to, the places I've stood and stand and given talks, because there's always a photo of me that's been tweeted. It's all there as a history of me as growing and developing as an OT. Has anyone got any questions?
You said your CPD folder is basically your Twitter account.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if you feel confident to show that to, let's say, people you work with, let's say your managers or maybe a future employer.
Yeah, I
you know
do.
what, this is what I've done to connect with such and such, or follow this kind of area of training or area of interest, and you feel that that is another reason why you're happy to keep your account all as one, not 2 separate accounts.
Yeah, so I am happy for my employers, and on all my job applications I put please visit my Twitter account at OT Thoughts for information about the things I do. Because I think my Twitter account, yes I do talk about other things, but it's still, I mainly talk about OT. And you can then clearly see, if you go into images, all the different conferences I've presented at, or all the different books that I've read, because I'll take a photo of it. So yeah, I'm definitely confident about advocating it. And in job interviews, I mention Twitter and I say, are you on Twitter? I couldn't find you. Okay. Maybe not like that, maybe not you, what's going on? Give me the job. But I do advocate for people to look. I really hope that I want them to look at my Twitter account before they give me a job, because I want them to see that I am a committed and passionate occupational therapist who care about the lives of people with learning disabilities. And I think that can be articulated much better through my Twitter account than it can through a worded document on NHS jobs. And the world is changing, and this is just what you do now. That's how other people get jobs that don't work in healthcare, I think. I mean, I've only ever known to work in healthcare, and I think they use this sort of headhunting and use other ways of getting jobs. So let's not get stuck. Let's constantly push forward.
Don't you ever worry about negative feedback, or if you were to put something someone disagrees, and how do you deal with that? Or do you just stand on it and just, I don't know, that, and that's the thing we're using online. Like, you put personal things like actions and its opinions. Do you ever find that you get
Most people don't even read it, I don't think, because no one replies. But I have had some people disagreeing with me, and that's okay, because that's just part and parcel of life, isn't it? You're going to meet people that disagree with you. And that's their opinion. Equally, what I put on is my opinion. There is an interesting, I can show you a bit more about that from this book if you want, about what to do when people disagree with you. But I don't put anything on there too controversial, to be honest, like some people do. There was an OT called, I think, OT_Claire, and sometimes she can put some real questionable, provocative things on there. You're thinking, God, don't know how I feel about that, but I don't tend to write stuff like that. I just tend to write, oh, I attended a conference and I love this.
Yeah.
So, mainly probably because I don't really want to put anything out there too big and then get an explosion of people. Also, it's so fast moving, unless you @ somebody or hashtag it, it sometimes gets lost. But you've still got a log of that on your homepage. Does that answer the question, sort of?
I think the talk tonight is talking about some of the things about how involved OT should get in politics, which I think would be quite an interesting thing, because I tend not to put my political views.
Yeah.
And so I might have done on Facebook, in my private Facebook, about what my views are, say, about Brexit, for example.
Right.
But I wouldn't have put that on Twitter, because that's my more professional self. And that's how, so I'm a bit like you. My Facebook's my personal stuff, my Twitter's my professional persona, or whatever. And so I feel it's still me, but it's there's not pictures of my family or anything like that.
That's right, yeah.
That's how I do it.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
So I don't put any of my political. I sort of think, what would I be like talking to people here? I'm not going to say, that's how I don't know. I don't know what your views are about that.
No, that's exactly, because again, whatever you put on there, you are still an OT. So all I remember is, would I ever say this at work? Is this something that I would say at work or not? If it's not, don't put it. The same as I don't post when I'm drunk, because I once did that and got myself into trouble. I tweeted an OT mug that I stole from the College of OT with wine in it because I was drunk, and then the OT was like, did you steal that? And I was like, yeah, I did. So don't do that anymore. And don't do it when you're stressed and tired either, because you'll end up saying something that you will regret. And yes, you can take it away, but once it's posted, it's posted. So your posts tend to be, again, like you say, professional, because you're always thinking to yourself, would I be happy to say this at work? Would I be happy to say this to my colleagues? Yeah, and I didn't write anything about Brexit, but I do put my sort of liberal views out. But I didn't write anything around. Yeah. Okay. Don't know what's coming up. Well, this is just a little spill, just to say that what I like to call a new leadership in the NHS, where it's not so hierarchical anymore. And I know that OTs probably were never like that historically, but even nursing and doctors now are viewing that everyone has an opinion, no matter who you are, no matter what grade you are, no matter what age you are. You all have an opinion, and you all should be taking responsibility to leading your team forward, no matter who you are. Similarly to Twitter, Twitter allows you to develop your leadership skills ready for the workplace. That's what I think. I think it's really helped me to develop my leadership skills. I really do believe that it really helped me to become band 7, because you're collecting people together and you're filtering your ideas out. You have to be brave and take courage, which is what leadership is all about as well. Yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted to say about that. And also there's loads of ideas around leadership. Leadership Academy as well are on there, and they post loads of interesting articles. And I think it's something that OTs we should really look into. Doesn't matter what grade you are, you should all be thinking about what is leadership qualities and how does it apply to me. And Twitter can really help with that. That's another rant. Do you like my little rants? Okay, some of the reasons why we might not use Twitter. No time for social media. That's very true because we are all extremely busy. But it doesn't take very long. I'm not going to keep going, but. Risk of sharing the wrong information. I think people do worry about that, like you were saying. And it's a case of thinking about, should I or shouldn't I post that, and make sure that you are posting at the correct time. It all seems overwhelming. And yes, it is to begin with. But it does get easier. Because it is overwhelming. Those that have used Twitter, I don't know if you remember your first time you were on Twitter and you were like, what the hell is this? You're thinking, hashtag this is so confusing. But when you pass that and get through it, oh, it's like a rainbow. Storm, then a rainbow. But everything in life seems overwhelming until you push past it, doesn't it? Absolutely. So give it a go. And sometimes people say I'm too old, but I'm not kidding you, there are a lot of people on Twitter. There's a lady who's called Who Shoes, at Who Shoes. She's a dementia nurse, I think she is, and her mum is on Twitter, and she's in her late 80s. She's using Twitter. So just some ideas about how perhaps you can start using Twitter is obviously give it a go. You can't break it, and you can delete a tweet if you just write hey, and then think, oh god, that's so silly, I'm going to delete that. I delete so many tweets because I've tweeted before I finished, like I did for you guys. I don't know if you noticed that, I quickly deleted it, but you'd already liked it. Search for hashtags. So when you're watching Gogglebox, for example, and you see hashtag Gogglebox, just type in Gogglebox into Twitter and just see what's coming up. I love reading people's opinions. Strictly Come Dancing results. I'm always on Twitter. What do people think of that? Oh yeah. I don't know. Is that me? That piece of paper? I don't know. And just be a lurker. It's okay to be a lurker. You don't have to post if you don't want to post. You could just be a taker. Take all the information. Take people's opinions. Take all the articles. That's fine. Just be a lurker. There's nothing wrong with lurking around. Well, in some situations. On Twitter, there's nothing wrong. Perhaps in other situations. And then when you're ready, you can take the plunge and send your first tweet. And it is really scary, but once you've done it, and no one replies to you, you think, oh god, it wasn't that bad, was it? Everyone adds value. Never forget that. Obviously, it's fast and furious. And if you see some good articles, just retweet it. It's really simple. You just retweet stuff and it gets sent out to all your followers. And over time, you'll have lots and lots of followers, so you can send out lots of information. Isn't that scary? I've got that written down for those that I want to think about how they can take forward. It's the top tips. Oh no, I didn't write that down. We'll come back to that slide. Useful links. So the best one to read around all your fears and worries is the Royal College of General Practitioners Social Media Highway Code. It's got the 10 codes that you may want to think about, and it gives you sort of some ideas to write in. That's a definite one to be reading. Also, HCPC social media guidelines also is one to be read, and they are currently updating their social media guidelines. So if you have an opinion or want to add your comments, then please do, for those that are perhaps active on Twitter already and know a bit about what's going on. Good to get involved in that discussion. Oh, sorry. Sorry, this is where you get a slight headache on this roller coaster ride. When you go on placements, just see if there's a social media policy in the team that you're in if you're thinking about using Twitter. Sorry. Most trusts now do have a social media policy. They're just put my favourites. I always follow and favourite my employer, my CEO, and College of OT, which basically means that every tweet that they send, it comes up as a notification on my phone, and that means that I know instantly what is happening in the world of occupational therapy and in the world of C&WL, which is the trust that I work for. That way, I'm not missing out on anything. It does mean sometimes you get loads of notifications, so if you can deal with the whole loads of notifications if you don't look at your phone for 2 hours. But it's a really good way of quickly getting the latest news, especially for people that you need to follow. So, for example, the College of OT, not meant to write that anymore, it's meant to say COT. I can quickly, see all their posts because it's on my notifications. And also, there's a star on Twitter. For those that don't know Twitter, I can go through it and show you. Oh, my phone's died. And I favourite, it's called favouriting, I favourite articles that I can then go back and read. Because it will save it in a favourites pile. And then I can go back and read articles if I can't read it there and then. They're just top tips that I do. Okay, so I don't know how much time we have, but I thought we could go into 2 groups, sort of, I feel okay over here, like, I like Twitter, I can use it, I know what I'm doing, to, I don't know what I'm doing, help me. I said it like that. Over here. And then I've got a few little questions to go through. Does that sound okay? Okay. Right, let me find the question. So I keep thinking.
Okay, not brilliant.
This guy. I can learn more.
Yeah, no, I've done that notification thing. Like that would be good. How would you turn that on?
What would be really helpful for the people that love Twitter is perhaps to share some of your top tips of using Twitter and think about why don't you use it as well? What benefits does it bring to you in your role? There's some other questions there you might want to go through, but definitely why you use it and some top tips would be really helpful. Okay, thank you guys. Does anyone want to set up Twitter?
Yes, I use Twitter quite a bit. Initially, it was just
So
my
you reckon
sister
you could
told
go
me
back on
to
it and find your
use
password?
I just like the immediacy of it. I like it how it's fast.
Because I don't
I
mind
suppose
having something
getting
now
news.
set up
I use it.
if
I
you
kind
want
of use it
to.
first.
But I've got some questions
Port
here
of
that
call,
you
if
can
you
sort of
like.
ask.
I follow the BBC
Things-
News. I follow sort
Things
of
that would be helpful would be
Guardian, Social Care. I follow quite a few, and then I use it as kind of
and then I
sort of a gateway into something.
I can go
So you can
through
see it's how it's trending,
Twitter.
and then I can move perhaps away from it and look a bit more in depth.
And then
My
I can
sort
go
of
through
tips
individually if you want me to show you how you set
You
this
can
up.
follow a lot of people that don't actually say a lot.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes up time, and you spend time looking and reading things that you think
I've got this whole step-to-step guide of how to get
have any interest in. So when you first got it, I was following loads of people, and then seeing they followed me back, and then you realise it doesn't. But yeah, every now and again it's good to have a bit of a cult, people that you follow, and sort of get rid of them. But, yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. Just dip in and out when you want to.
Okay.
I like it.
So many conversations going on at once. I mean, I don't really know how you can sort of like channel it to just your network of
I
people.
think I'm pretty much the same as you really. I think I've had a Twitter account for ages.
As soon as you
Never really used it very much. Just following,
That's right.
like when it first came out, everyone was on Twitter. Literally following loads of people. And then I didn't get any benefit from it because my feed just used to be loads of stuff. You just scroll through it and not really pay attention to anything. So like you just have a bit of a call. And now I use it for more OT based stuff. Because like Katie says, there's a lot of
If I had two
current things and people have thoughts out there that you
it's so
hadn't
easy to just like
thought about,
sign
but
in
you
and out.
can think about it and bring it
Like
into your practice.
Twitter is actually
So I found that far more useful than what I was using it for before.
And I think
suppose there's a difference between using it as an actual tool,
Yeah.
as a work tool,
It could also just be
as opposed to just, I don't know, just frivolous. Frivolous is probably the wrong word, but just,
you could just search
I don't know, you're getting something more out of it by using it as a tool.
and it's a really good,
But using
it's a
it to
search
advantage
engine
rather than to be a social thing. For me, it's
to be honest.
Before it was
I
quite
find it a
social.
better search engine.
and not, I didn't really use it a huge amount, but since starting at uni and coming to different things and people I've gone on and I've really touched if feeding
Do you know you have
information
to your app?
so much.
Except
And even like
username.
on Facebook when
Oh.
you guys
I
put
know,
up
like,
notifications.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, I do want to use it more for OT
I mean,
now
I
and
put
combine
OT into my
profile as well. Because that was a
username,
question
because
I
I want
wondered.
people
I
to
was
know
like,
that I'm an
do I have
OT,
to
so
do
you
more?
could always
Do I
think
combine?
about doing that if you want
Yeah.
to or not.
When you change your username, I think for me, I find it helpful to have
Yes.
two separate accounts for Twitter. I wasn't sure what to do in the beginning, but hearing
I think you
a
must
guy
be
called Kieran talk about digital
Well, I'm not too
literacy
sure about
and
that.
professionalism and that kind of stuff. I thought maybe it would be a good idea if I see what
Ah,
other people
yeah,
are
you
doing.
might not
And I
wanna
saw
write
that they had something that
Because,
said
like,
their
you can
name
change
and
your
something
bio,
OT.
because you add your
Okay,
bio
it looks
in,
like they're
so
using
like,
it
I
just
can then
for
write
like
I'm an occupational
professional
therapy student at London South
ID
End.
or the professional side.
And then when
So
you
I thought,
qualify,
okay, I'll
you
try
can
that.
say,
And I found it helpful because my original Twitter account has got loads of different things I'm interested in. Some relates to OT, some
Have
not.
you got your phone?
And I thought, I'm not really sure if I'd be happy for an employer to see all of that. I prefer them to see more of the more constructive stuff that you do to network with people since starting this course. So I found it helpful for that reason to have two separate ones. And like somebody mentioned, I think it was you who mentioned about the politics side of things. I thought, should I follow Labour on this account? I thought maybe it's best to stay neutral. So I chose to follow Labour on my own personal one rather than the OT one for that same reason. So for me it helps to separate just because how I use it myself. I've got a Facebook account as my personal and more to link in with friends and family. The personal Twitter one is to network with all kinds of people, and the OT one for Twitter is more about OT stuff. And I've got a LinkedIn account as well, which I thought would be more about networking for work, but I don't use that so much, so maybe it's something that I transfer more to the OT Twitter.
No, I'm just wondering.